What's up, G.I. Joe fans? Welcome back to the channel. Happy you're here to check it out. Gingivitis 75, the Blue Collar Collector, coming at you with another action figure review. Today we are doing G.I. Joe Classified Series Ninja Force Slice and Dice. See, on the side of the box we got that QR code and those symbols. Back of the box we got a nice little action pose shot here. Background looks very tropical. Wondering who this figure is. Is that like a blue ninja? Not really sure. If you guys have any ideas or guesses, give a shout out in the comments. I'm interested to know who the heck that is. It's kind of blurry in the background. Don't know if it's somebody we've already had in figure form or if they're kind of alluding to somebody forthcoming. Let's get some little mini shots here. We got the straw hat and some stars and a bandolier, and I don't even know what the fuck that is, but we'll find out, won't we? Side of the box we got a nice little piece of artwork there with our two characters, and then front we got the window. Scope them out. Barcode, that's the top. 160 in the line. Let's open these guys up and see what Slice and Dice is all about. All right, just a brief look out of the box, still in the plastic moldings. Just to kind of get a good look at all the accessories here. We got Mr. Slice. Lots of alt hands, lots of alt heads, lots of weaponry. And then you got this little extra here. Straw hat and a shawl and a belt, so you can kind of give one of them, or maybe split it up and give them a different look. Kind of reminds me of Big Trouble in Little China, those like the storms or whatever with these hats. So that's pretty cool. And of course in the background we got this backer board here, standard Cobra symbols, but it's a little bit bigger. It'll probably go in the bin. I don't know if I really need that. All right, let's whip through these accessories and all the weaponry here. There is a lot to unpack. Here we have the alt head for Slice. Looks strikingly like that Darklon alternate head, except for that one had the tongue sticking out, but this is very ghoulish. Of course, we got the fists. We got the karate chop hands, and then of course he's got the sword wielding hands, but they have trigger fingers. Now, I know that's an easy thing to do when you package all these figures with the trigger figure hands, but some of these guys don't use guns. So can't you just do another molding where it's just a C grip or a closed hand that you can grab or grasp onto like sword handles, instead of doing the trigger fingers all the time? It's a minor complaint, but it's, I don't know. It'd be nice, I think. Here we got these little hook swords. I do like these. These are wicked. I will display Slice with these guys. I also do like how they did the black handles, a little bit of red accent on there. Unlike these, which I think are cool weapons, these little almost like survival knives, but you know, like they could have painted some black on the handles and instead of just a, you know, this kind of monochromatic gray. I don't know, they could have done better. Same goes for here. These guys, I've seen these before. I don't like them. I hate them actually. And would they be better if they painted some black on the handle or something like that? No. I think these suck. So these are going into the storage bag, as will probably this, unless there's somewhere that you can put it on his body if he has like some little sheath or holster. But that's a little sigh, I guess, you know, whatever. Moving over to dice, we have this masthead, which is like kind of a dragon. Pretty nice, actually. I do like this. We got the ties on the back for all these masks. Yeah, this one looks pretty nice. And then we have the unmasked head, which I might use, I don't know. But he's got a nice little gash across his face. Looks like he got slashed by a sword. But pretty nice looking head sculpt all the way around. So, right now for me, Dice is kind of ahead of the pack. We have the hands. He's got the karate chop hands affixed. And he's got the fists and the trigger C-grip hands down there as well. We have this staff with the blade at the end, and then some little claw thing down there. This is what he's holding in the glamour shot. So I don't know, I may keep this around. I'm not a huge fan of these, but they're all right. And I guess that's what we're looking at the close-up here. And I was like, what the heck is that when we're looking at the box? But yeah, interesting weaponry. I would say Slice is coming out ahead on that one. And then also we have, oopsie, the hat here with the little string that comes down to wrap around the chin. It is plastic, it's not rope or anything like that, so it's gonna stand up. But I do like this a lot. You got the kind of shawl here. And then you got, I think this is gonna go like diagonal across the chest. You just got some little throwing daggers there on a little bandolier rope. Not too bad. So that's what we're looking at. Let's get into articulation, which is going to be pretty brief here. It's the same old, same old. Slice does have the butterflies. This is glued on the armor here, and it is affixed down below, so you do get full range of motion on that shoulder. Stomach crunch, swivel and pivot at the waist. You know the deal. Double jointed elbows and knees. He's got the ninja socks here with the toes sticking out. Pretty nice looking paint. He does have this, this came on him, but he's got this removable holster on his back for, I believe, oh yeah, things just kind of slide into these. So I'm sure, hopefully you can put more than just these in that holster so that we can have him holding these swords and hopefully holstering these. Dice does not have the butterflies, and I guess there's a good reason for that. I do like this head sculpt, interesting mask, pretty nice. They do have the double jointed necks, so you got the ball joint in the body as well as at the top of the neck. But for this guy, his shoulders do twist around, but this is affixed to the torso, so this is not moving. So it's not part of the arm, it's actually part of the torso. So no butterflies that I can see. It looks like there's a little bit of movement, a little bit of shift, so maybe there are butterflies, but they're just unable to be moved because this is really hindering it. We'll make them do the splits here. They both got the boot cuts. Interesting shoes here. Wow. He's got some small feet. I don't know. It looks like he's got some clogs on, but interesting. And of course, you got the tilt and pivot. So pretty much the same all the way around. You know how the articulation works with Joe's Marvel Legends. Very similar. So, all right, just a quick, more in-depth look at Slice. There are some things that I don't like about this figure, but there's plenty to like. I do like these shoulder pads and how they're glued on down here, so there's more range of motion up here. That's nice, and you still get the butterflies. You do have this sheath down here for that little sigh. Does it stay in well? You also have these sheaths on the back. You got the little backpack that it came attached, but it does come out. And I think they're meant for these hook swords, but you can put in these survival knives, I guess I would call them. Pretty well. You do have this overhang on the hilt, so it does help to keep them in there. But are they totally secure? I don't know. They shift around quite a bit. I do like this blank-faced, almost like Cobra Commander-ish mask on him. It's very cold and kind of haunting, I guess, in a way. The aesthetic is nice, the red and the black, some silver on there. It looks pretty good. I'm not going to lie. But I do think that I do like Dice just a little bit more, and there's some drawbacks to that figure as well. Just getting another kind of look at a different version of Slice. We got the alt, I'm going to just say Darklon mask, because it looks just like Darklon. These claws actually don't look half bad when they are affixed, and he's posing with them. I don't mind them. Could have done something a little more with the colors, and then of course we do have those hook swords and the sheaths back here. So as far as weaponry and storage, he's doing pretty good. The articulation is great. The paint is great. It might be a tie, I would say, between Slice and Dice. I think Dice, even though he has less weapons, has more looks that I prefer, and we'll get into that in a moment. Just looking at this guy, nice looking figure. I do like the red and the black. This guy does keep falling out of that wrist or forearm sheath, so beware, don't lose it. So yeah, just real quick, I'm going to show you some other members of Ninja Force. So far we've got Nunchuck, Snake Eyes, Storm Shadow, and I guess Scarlet is a honorary member, so I guess you can throw her in there. Now that we have Slice and Dice, the remaining members are... Rounding out our Ninja Force members, we got Banzai, all looking good in the purple. We got Bushido. Those will probably be in a 2-pack. There's Dojo. And don't forget, we're going to get Budo. That's coming out. Actually, mine just shipped. Then we got Tijang, or TJ Bang. And then finally, we got GIJOE. All right, just want to do one more quick look at Slice. Just messing around with the accessories and stuff, but I gotta say, this figure is growing on me quite a bit. He looks great. Is he perfect? No. He's just got a lot of weapons. He's got a lot of storage on his unit, on his body. So, it just makes it more fun, and I think he looks really good. The butterflies are a big difference, I would say. It's too bad that the butterflies are non-existent or hindered on dice, but I still think right now, and I haven't really fucked with dice yet, you know, but I think there's more options with the purple guy. So we'll see what happens. I still got to fuck around with him a little bit, but right now I do really like Slice. I just wish that they use some of the things that they used on Slice on dice and vice versa. But still, this guy is a fun figure. And I'm probably going to give him about, I would say, a 7 right now. All right, let's move on to dice. All right, here we got Dice up on the turntable, and he looks pretty good. He just doesn't have any storage, so he's not carrying a lot of weapons. But as far as clothing and just overall look, he does have options. I do think things are cool though, like certain things like this stuff, these little ropes that kind of like hang down from his back up to the front. These forearm guards, as well as this guard up on his bicep or upper arm, are all removable, which is pretty neat. So you can take those off for some bare arm shit, whatever. These shoes are funky. Looks like he's like gonna be clogging around in Holland on those things, but I guess ninjas wear those. Yeah. I don't like the coloring, and I do love purple a lot. I just think that red and the black on Slice looks really good. And the purple is not so intimidating perhaps, but you know, nonetheless, this figure is pretty nice looking. I like the rags that are kind of drooping down here. He's got more of a ragtag type of look, as if you compare him to Slice. All right, here we got him with the dragon mask on. I do like that. It looks really sharp. He has a hard time holding on to these weapons here. The hands just aren't made properly, and the handle just keeps kind of sliding out of his hands on both sides. I did put this little bandolier thing with these daggers, but I think he's going to have to borrow these to Slice. I think that there's just too much going on here. You know, you got all this stuff down here, throwing stars, so Slice has nothing going on his chest, so we're gonna do that and give it up to his partner. But yeah, I'm slowly beginning to feel like Slice is the winner between these two, but we got one more version to try. All right, here we have Dice in a pose, one-legged, kicking, and yeah, lots of fun here. Just one kind of issue. This thing, this shawl here, that's gonna go over his head, it does not want to be on there. It's just there's too much stuff in the way. I think I might have an easier time putting it on Slice, but I'm gonna have to remove the sheath backpack here in order for it to lay on there. I thought this was going to stay with whoever wears the hat, which I thought was Dice. We'll try it on Slice as well, but we're going to have to take this thing off. As well as this little, these throwing daggers here. I'm going to have to take that thing off as well. But this does not want to go on Dice. I'll show you here in a sec. But it's just, there's just too much stuff going on. And he doesn't have anything attached to his back, but you put it on and it kind of is like, it's weird. It doesn't want to be on there because of all these straps that are on his body. And then you know, it goes up around the head about like this, and this kind of covers up his mouth and his chin. And then you want to put the hat on and you want to tuck that string down under his chin, but that's not working either because there's just too much stuff in the way. But we'll give it our best go. All right, after a little work and a little magic, I got it, the hat as well as the shawl to go on there. So what I had to do was pop that the bald-headed sculpt off, and then you put the shawl on, and then you're going to want to put the hat on the head, and then put the little rope around the chin, and then you're going to pop the head back on. Seems like a lot of work to do, and I tried it before, just didn't work out, but this time I just said, I'm going to get it. I'm going to do it, god damn it, and I did it. So, added some lightning effects around there. Kind of reminds me, as I said before, of Big Trouble in Little China. You had the 3 storms, and this does seem very reminiscent of that with the hat. Pretty cool look. I am still going with Slice being the superior figure, just for posability. But Dice just has more options as far as appearance with the 3 heads, and then you can throw on the grass hat and the shawl. I don't know why I'm calling it a shawl, but it sounds better than a cape. I think it's more like a shawl, even though women is kind of a shawl is kind of something women wear. So but still, good looking figure. I just like all the options that this guy has. Now that I can get the grass hat and the shawl on at the same time, I feel like that'll bump up this figure a couple points. So we might be standing at about even. Once again, this guy does not have the butterfly joints, or at least it's hindered because of the molded in like sleeves up here by the shoulders. But not a bad looking figure. And it's like, do I want to go this way, or do I want to do the dragon head? Both heads I think are decent, or all 3 heads are decent. Where for Slice, I think it's gotta be this. And I really like this a lot. And the other head just kind of looks like a rip-off of the Darklon head. But it does, I don't know, it does look kind of samurai, but it's kind of horrific in a way. Good detail though on there, lots of great detail. This guy, both of his masks almost seem like they could be like fencing masks, if you've ever seen those. This very much is reminiscent of a fencing mask, and I like it. Very polished. You got some reflections going on there with the light. It looks fantastic. So, yeah, I still think that Slice is ahead in the race. All right, so we got these 2 guys back to back displayed on the turntable, and it's a great set. I gotta admit, I think that Slice is a lot better for articulation and posability. I just like the way he looks more. The colors are better. Dice just has more options for as far as appearance. He's got 3 heads. He's got the shawl. He's got the hat. pretty cool. He's coming up a little short on the weaponry. If you look here, you see there's a little red stain. I took off this little arm guard here just to show you that it can be taken off and kind of what's underneath, which is just skin. But it has some red marks. So either it got too hot and a little bit of this red paint got on there, or this didn't dry and it just stained the arm. So yeah, that's too bad. It is what it is. Hopefully some rubbing alcohol takes care of that. But here, let's give it a good look. You just got a little, like a red spot, and there's a little bit of a blemish underneath it, but nothing really horrible. You put that arm guard back on there and nobody's gonna notice, except for me, which it will gnaw at me, you know? So it is what it is. These things happen. So it's not too much of a bother. I'm giving Slice a 7. Really like the figure a lot. Dice is getting slightly less at 6.5. Dice, if I said Slice before, so Slice is getting the 6.5. The set is at a 6.7. Yeah, I'm just kind of going dead down the middle, slicing it in half and dicing up the rating. So 6.7 out of 10. My Budo is on the way. I'm pretty excited for that. Now let's get into some comparisons. I got a whole lot of ninjas. All right, as you can see, we have some of the remaining members of Ninja Force. We went through those pictures before. We showed you Banzai, Bushido, Dojo, Jinzu, and Tijbang, or TJ Bang. And then I guess Scarlet is an honorary member, but this is who we have so far. Starting from left to right, we got Nunchuck, which I think is a great fucking figure. These claws are tasking. I had to drill the insides of this thing just to get it so it would fit properly on the hand. I'll just kind of show you a close-up there. You can see it. Looks a little rough there, but it looks better now. Before, it wouldn't even fit on there. It was kind of weird. Of course, we got the Snake Eyes version 2 right here. Slice and Dice, and then the original look of Storm Shadow and his Cobra gear. One of my favorite looks of any figure ever. So there, we got our Ninja Force. Hopefully Banzai, Bushido, Dojo, and the rest will be forthcoming. All right, here we got a nice big group of not just ninjas, but also martial artists. I will put Spirit in there just because, you know, he did fight Storm Shadow in season 2 of the G.I. Joe animated series, and he used some form of martial arts. And he was pretty badass. He was the first guy to go up against Storm Shadow. So we're going to include him as well as Freedom, his eagle. But we're going to start over here. We got Kamakura, Quick Kick, Spirit, and his eagle Freedom. We got Nunchuck, Jinx, Snake Eyes, Dice, Slice, Vipra. There's Storm Shadow back there. And then we got the Red Ninja, as well as the Night Creeper. I didn't get the Blue Ninjas. Maybe I should pick them up. I think they're actually on sale on Amazon, or they're just a little bit cheaper. Budo, I think, will arrive tomorrow. Scarlet, I just didn't include, as well as Helix, who is known as kind of a ninja or martial artist, but I just didn't bring her in. And then also there is still a few other ones to be coming out. There's the Ninja Force. There was also Tiger Claw, Black Dragon Ninja, and the Ninja Viper. So yeah, here we go. This little bird's eye view of all these badass G.I. Joe classified ninjas. and more are coming. I do hope we maybe get an update of the Red Ninja. I really like the way these guys look, but if we could get something maybe with better articulation, no pins, that would be awesome. I think this Vipra is a little bit of a letdown. I think Nunchuck is pretty fucking awesome. And I think Spirit is actually one of my favorite G.I. Joe classified figures till this day. So there we have it. Bunch of ninjas. All right, last but not least, right now I'm making excuses to bring forth more ninja martial artist type characters. Like, come on, Nightwing, really? He's not a ninja, but he's a badass and he uses staff, so why not, right? But I'm actually holding a little bit back. I have one that in particular that I'm saving to for when we get Budo. It's actually a figure that comes in a dojo, and it's awesome. The guys over on your left here might tip you off on that, so let your mind wander and think about it. But here we got DC Universe Classics Deathstroke, DC Universe Classics Nightwing, dope figure. We have Masterverse, Masters of the Universe, New Eternia Jitsu, which is actually a pretty sweet figure. And then Marvel Legends Lady Bullseye right here. So there we have it, guys. I love doing the comparisons. I know you guys enjoy that shit too. Please give me a thumbs up if you like this video. I had a lot of fun doing this one. Hopefully you guys had fun watching it. If you can give me a subscription and maybe drop a comment. I love talking and chatting it with you guys and just shooting the shit. So I try to reply to all the comments. I do my best. I don't always get notifications. So we'll keep it going. So yeah. Do your best. We are talking 6.7 out of 10 for the Slice and Dice set here. We're going to close in on our two main characters here. It was fun, guys. We'll see you on the next one. I'll probably drop another one tomorrow. So take care, guys. All right. Peace out.